Okay. I think I'm working. Can someone unmute and tell me they can hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, give me 30 seconds here. We will jump in. Thanks for joining me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So again, thank you guys for joining me. So today, the intent is to review some statistics that are common but also important to us as realtors. And the question is, well, why would we do this? And the answer is that how many times have you gotten approached by just someone in the general public or even someone that you know, and they always ask, how is the real estate market? You know, what can you tell me about the real estate market? How do you think it's going to, look a year from now, a month from now, a week from now? And so, believe it or not, between RPR and your local board, we have access to quite a number of statistics. And I don't know about you, but when I first started, I had no idea where these statistics were and what they meant and how I should communicate them. And so you have to realize the job I had before real estate was very much a data-driven, numbers-focused job. And so I get if some of you don't know how to interpret these numbers. So the other thing I'll say is that, you know, our profession, like a lot of others, is very soundbite driven, right? And so my mission today is to help give you talking points about some of these statistics and to help you understand how to connect the dots. So I'm going to start at a high level and go into a system that we all have access to, and that is RPR. So I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to go into RPR. So I have already some pre-populated reports that I've run, and there are two of them, and I just want to show you how I got these different reports. So you can do, if you just go here to reports, these are all the various ones that you can get. And I happen to have chosen a market activity report and a neighborhood report. And the market activity, and you can see here, it says enter in an address, tax ID or location. You can enter in, what I did was I'm just going to enter in my hometown, which is Flower Mound, Texas. And remember, you can enter in any of these, wherever you live. And I'm going to go to reports. And I'm going to do a market activity report. And you can see where that was highlighted right there. And then I'm going to click Run Report. And when I do that, it says your market activity report is currently generating for Flower Mound, Texas. We'll message you when it's ready. And for those of you that have been in this before, you know that it's a doorbell ring. And we'll hear that in a moment. But I already have one brought up. Now, before we go on, you can also run, which I've done, a neighborhood report. Now in Texas, and really probably anywhere else in the country, a neighborhood is synonymous with your subdivision name. Okay, and I happen to have done that, and you'll see that in a moment. But when it ever says reports here, a neighborhood report, they mean the name of your subdivision. So think about how powerful that information is if you are professing to be a local expert in your area. Okay, you can actually get these statistics for as focused down as the actual subdivision. So let's go into the neighborhood report. So this is 10 pages long, and it gives me an outline of what the boundaries are for Flower Mound. And I'm going to scroll down, and the first thing I come to is some various statistics. All right, and let's just kind of run through these. So I actually live in the Lake Forest subdivision. I'm sorry, that's a neighborhood report. Sorry about that. Let me go back. So just for the town of Flower Mound, I'm going to scroll down, and this will give you talking points on the town that you live in. And so let's just kind of walk through these. So it says updated the end of May, 5/31. The median estimated home value is $496 for the entire town of Flower Mound. Now let's just break that down for a second. So what is median? Median is the halfway point. So think of the median of a highway. Half of the traffic is on one side, half of the traffic is on the other side. Okay, so this is the middle point. So half of the inventory is going to be above that value, half will be below. Now, in full disclosure, my personal home, I bought in 2005 for half that amount. So you'll see here, and this is one of the statistics that you should zero in on. The increase in value has really come in the past 2 years. And so you guys can probably appreciate that if you've lived in your home for more than 3 or 4 years. It has steadily crept up over time, but really the big push has come in the past 24 months. So the other thing to distinguish is this is home value as valued by RPR. All right, so whenever you go into a specific address, you'll see a specific value for a home, and then you'll see that range. That's what this is. You'll see later that it also breaks out the price. Okay, so why is this important? Because there are tons of statistics that you can tell people right now about this town. And so the value, and people love that word value, right? So just say, so whenever someone approaches you and says, well, how are the home values these days? And you can say, well, you know what, if you live in Flower Mound, they've actually gone up almost 25% in the past 2 years, past 24 months. Half of that has come in the past year. So year over year, we've seen an increase of about 12%. Now that started to go down. The last 3 months, it's only increased 6%. And the past month, it's actually only increased just a little bit over a month. So you can kind of see where these kind of statistics communicated to whoever's standing in front of you creates kind of an aha moment for them and should lead to other conversations. And so, listen, you could not have any transactions under your belt. If you know these statistics, it automatically makes you smarter than every other realtor out there, because not many people are looking at this and not many people understand what this means. So let's all of us talk about what that means. So yes, the value has increased in the past 24 months a lot, but 24 months or 1 month does not a trend make. So let's talk about how it's trending. And it's trending down. All right. So it's gone down to 13% the past 12 months, past 3 months, only gone up 6%, only gone up 1 in the past month. So what does that mean? Well, that means that from your anecdotal evidence and these meetings and just talking to other realtors, the frenzy has kind of diminished, right? There aren't as many full price offers, aren't as many offers above listing. This multiple offer situation in many price points has started to settle. And you can always go back to, if they say, well, how do you know that? Well, these statistics, right? So let's scroll down. And this goes out even further and adds 36 months. So for the past 3 years, again, just sticking to median home value, has increased 27%. So it's already started to go down at year 2. Okay, so again, another talking point could be, hey, if you're a seller and you're thinking about selling, interest rates are going up, you better get while the getting's good if you plan to cash in on this investment, because the value is only decreasing. You may have missed your opportunity. And let's see what else it says. Concentration of distressed properties. So why is this important? Well, this is probably one of the main talking points that I hear a lot, which is there is a housing bubble. The market is going to crash. There is going to be foreclosures like no one has ever seen before. Well, that's simply not true. And the reason is because in 2008, when the last time this happened, people were getting mortgages that couldn't qualify for them. And so they were walking into an asset where they couldn't afford the payments to begin with, and that asset was being overvalued. Have values gone up? Yes, but the ability to qualify for a loan has so many more restrictions than it had 15 years ago. Plus there's a glut of buyers and the home equity has increased. So there is no housing bubble on the horizon. Aside from someone's inherent shame and embarrassment of being behind in their mortgage payments. And believe me, people will, bury their head in the sand and pretend that they're not missing payments, only to find out that they're going to be foreclosed on next month. That will always happen. But people that have a genuine interest in getting out from underneath a situation like that already have equity in their home, and they have way more buyers out there than there are sellers. They can just put the home on the market and get rid of it. So to put numbers to what I just said, how many distressed properties were there in the town of Flower Mound? Well, there are no pre-foreclosures. So what's a pre-foreclosure? Person has been behind in their mortgage payment by 3 months or more. Okay, there are none of those. Number of foreclosures in process, none. Number of homes that were foreclosed on, 22. Okay, that is nothing. Let me see if there's a time frame. I don't know what time frame this is. I can find out, but it was updated as of 6/6. But 22 is nothing. I mean, add a 0 on the end of that number, and that's kind of what we were up against in 2010, 2012. Okay, so you will get comments about that only serves to create panic and negativity. Just go back and tell them, look, I got data that says there are no foreclosures, So let's go down further. And so this now is the median sales price. Okay, so what was the price of a home versus value that these sold for? So similar metrics. So in my town, the change over the past 2 years has been up 40%. Now remember that the value only went up 25. So what does that mean, guys? That means that there were a lot of people that were paying above the actual value to the tune of 40% in the past 2 years. Okay, 21, call it 22% in the past 12 months. Change over the last 3 months, almost 10%, and it's actually gone down 2% in the past month. So this metric is an important one, because regardless of what y'all might think, our business is changing every week. I mean, it wasn't just 3 months ago that prices were up 10%. A mere 30 days ago, they're actually trending down. Okay, so what does that mean if you've got buyers? That means that the chances of them being able to get into a home are going to be pretty good. Okay, and if you are representing sellers, then that means that, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, the days might be over where you can command, you know, no inspection, no option period, $100,000 over ask, you know, all these things that the sellers had on you are trending down. Okay, let's scroll down. Median list price. Oh, sorry. So that was median sales price. This is median list price. So boy, that's a pretty stark reminder of what's been going on. So the median list price was $540. The sales price was $603. So from a median sales perspective, they were getting $40,000, or I'm sorry, $60,000 above asking price. But the good news is that's actually trending down. And I think that is good news, because buyers shouldn't be forced to overpay. Okay, so again, good talking points. And so here's some more just for the town. How many new listings were there? How many pendings? How many closed? These are the number of properties. Painfully low. Very, very low. The lowest price for, let's just do new listings. Low end at $375, median price at $607. And there are some nicer neighborhoods and developments going in, so it's at almost $2 million. Same translates to average price per square foot. And then one thing that we're going to go into a little bit deeper in a second is the average days in RPR. So how much did these sit? So the average was 20 days. So there's going to be some that will sat longer, some that, you know, went off the market in a couple of days. The median is 11 days. Okay, so that's also a talking point that you can bring back to your clients. It says, well, how long are homes sitting? Because every news broadcast will suggest that they're flying off the market in 24 hours. And while that is true in some price points, it's not always true. And so you want, your goal as a realtor is to encourage home ownership to those that can afford it and those that want to genuinely be a homeowner. You're not trying to convince someone to buy something they can't afford or don't want. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we are optimists in the real estate industry. We need to present the data that supports them being able to achieve the American dream. Okay, and so these are the rules of engagement right now. You got the median price of $607, price per square foot, highest I've ever seen it, but they're sitting on the market about 11 days. You know, do you want to go look? Because you can get into a home. There is nothing on the news that would suggest that you cannot get into a home right now. So that is the other kind of purpose of today's session. Then the rest of the report is made up of what is actually available. So comps. Okay, so if someone pressed you and you could say, yeah, you know, there's actually this listing at 629 Teakwood, and you know, they're at built in 1993, they're at 410. It listed on May 27th. It's June, what, 7th, 8th? I mean, based on what the news says, this thing should have been gone. So, and it's at less than $200 a square foot. So it's not all doom and gloom. So here is the data that supports everything that we just went through. Okay, so you all have access to this. I'm just trying to merely help you connect the dots and create talking points around what every realtor in the country has access to. You could go into Worcester, Massachusetts and do the exact same thing if you really wanted to. Okay, any questions on the market activity report before I drill down? All right, so let's look at the neighborhood that I live in. Okay, so this creates even a deeper version of expertise, because now you are the neighborhood expert. So let me kind of connect the dots for you before I go on to the data. If you are doing what is recommended, which is send out note cards to your neighbors, go into Remine and find out in your neighborhood who is motivated, drop off reports from RPR about that particular home to that homeowner, then this will make a ton of sense, because you are already positioning yourself to be the neighborhood expert. And who better to list or sell a home in your neighborhood than your neighbor? Okay, so this will further, give you confidence and give you more talking points about the specific subdivision in which you live. Okay, so this takes a little bit different lens, if you will, because Lake Forest is my subdivision. Now, Lake Forest has 3, I think, other sections that are a lot newer than mine. My home was built in 1991. And so just to kind of give you a frame of reference, it then compares this to the town that I live in, and then compares it to the county that I live in, then the state, and then the entire US. Okay, so depending on what neighborhood you're looking in, again, or subdivision, will determine, how you talk about these statistics. So the median estimated home value is 392 compared to almost 500,000 in the town, and it's right about in line with what the pricing is for the county. 12-month change, it's actually gone up about 15%. That's actually more than the town. So hey, this might be a good place to move to. And it's just about neck and neck with the county. And then, I mean, nationwide, it's going to be tough because you got, California and Florida and New York City that, overinflate those numbers. Okay, the same can be said for the median home list price, and then the list price 1 month change. So it's actually gone down about 3%, gone down about 3% as compared to the town, and so on. So it is trending down as compared to a 12-month change, which is we're up 19%. Okay, we're up 13% as compared to the town. So let me just kind of stop right here for a second and explain why these numbers are even more important. When you purchase a home, you're purchasing an investment that will likely always increase in value. And if you're not buying real estate, you're going to put that money into the stock market or a mutual fund or something. The average rate of return for an investment like that is going to be about 8, maybe 10, 15% on a really, really good year. Okay, so you're spending money on an investment and you employ a financial advisor, you're probably going to get 8 or 9% back. Okay, so to say that a home's value has increased in 1 year 19% is phenomenal. Now it's trending down, but like any real estate investment, that is going to go back up. And quite frankly, as a realtor, you should be saying, look, it needed to go down. This, unfair valuation and multiple offers and offering above ask was unsustainable. Okay. But as a benchmark, it's about an 8 or 9, 10% return on any kind of investment. Okay. So in my subdivision, 91% own it, 9% rent. Okay. And it will illustrate everything I just mentioned in a graph. And then kind of break out median listing price versus listing volume. So price versus how many homes were on the market. So, you could get analysis paralysis here. So I'm going to probably cut it off at this point on the RPR section, but it also goes into, didn't know if you knew this, but demographic information. Okay, male, female, median age. I believe it even denotes, education level, voting record. It's all in here. Got to be careful because you don't want to discriminate, right? But it's all here, and you can give this to your clients. I wouldn't comment on, voting records. Yeah, presidential voting record, all that, right? You don't want to get too deep in the weeds there. But this is great information as a basis for your clients to make decisions on where they might want to be. Okay, this is 10 pages long. It's a great, great report. Okay, so any questions on the RPR report? Okay, so, there's my new report. I'm going to close that because we've already looked at it. That's what it sounds like. If you didn't hear that, it was a doorbell. So let me go into the MLS. Because there are some really great statistics here. So I'm sorry, let me go back. I have one more to show you. And your board will be different, but some version of this exists. So this is just for the North Texas area. And our local board sends this graphic out once a month regarding some of the key statistics. Now, I'm going to show you, if you're not a member of Netris and you're calling from elsewhere, where to get this for you. But you can kind of see what our board is telling us is important. So median price, we already discussed, and they're a month behind, right? So this is April. May hasn't come out yet. But this, again, 2 months ago, the picture was a lot different. Okay, median price, and this is the entire Denton County, went up 22%. Market share, I am not sure what they mean by that, other than realtors as a percentage of, how many was sold in the county. I'm not quite sure where they're getting market share from. But the other statistics are equally as important. How many active listings there were. So it went down 10% as compared to same month last year. Closed sales down 5.4. I want to explain this. Months of inventory. So sometimes this is called absorption rate, or months supply. And this is kind of a weird statistic to wrap your mind around, but this really measures the velocity or the pace at which homes are selling. So let me just kind of explain that for a second. What that means is at a snapshot in time, there are a certain amount of listings that are active. Okay, not option, not pending, not closed, but active. And this statistic says, if nothing else came on the market, how long would it take to exhaust that amount of inventory? In months. So in this statistic, it's 0.8 months. So for those of you that don't know what that means, or if that's good or bad, that's horrible. A balanced inventory is 6 months. Now, we haven't seen 6 months in 2 decades. I would be happy with 3 or 4. Okay, that means that it's taking about 3 or 4 months for homes to sell, homes to close, all right, active to closed. That gives everyone a fair chance. That kind of tamps down this above asking stuff, not going to give you an option period, all that garbage. Less than 1 month is not good for either buyer or seller. You know, it's just not. So that's kind of what that means. So equally as important is days on market. So let me just kind of explain what this means when they mention that. So days on market means how long did it take for a listing to go from active to something else. And the something else could mean active to active option, to option pending, closed. Okay. That's so in other words, how long did it take for that home to come off the market? Okay. And in this case, as compared to the same time last year, 19 days. That's all of Denton County. So there's lots of trash out there and lots of really great listings too. But on an average, it's taking to close 37 days. That's about right, right? I mean, you get someone under contract, you ask for a 30-day close, that pretty much matches up. Okay, so all this to say that these statistics exist somewhere within your board website or your MLS. Okay, and so let's go to the MLS for North Texas, and I'm going to just kind of walk you through a couple of things. Now, if you are a member of this MLS, you have a trends icon, and the trends will give you a snapshot of really any material statistic that you could ever want without kind of going overboard. Okay, so you kind of see here sales price, original list price. You know, I review this each month, days on market, you know, percent of original price. And so you can grab this at any point. So I'm not going to camp out here because not everyone on the call is from the DFW area. But let me go into our MLS, and I will say that if you are calling from Houston, Austin, or DFW, our MLSs are virtually the same. Okay. If you are calling from El Paso or San Antonio, I'm going to show you where to get that information in a second. But let's just kind of talk through if you're calling from DFW, Austin, or San Antonio. You will have a tab up here that says stats. This is above and beyond the monthly reports that you should be getting from your board. Okay, and so you'll see on here various already pre-populated statistics that you can key into. Okay, and this is what it is for DFW. In Austin and in Houston, they're not exactly the same, but they're going to be similar. Okay, so you can look at any one of these, and whatever is important to you at that time, you know, go for it. I have been displaying every month from the various other cities, typically this one. What is the original price versus the sold price? I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to click generate, and it gives it to me in graphical format. I could click data, and if you like charts like I kind of do, there it is in kind of numerical format. Okay, so aside from the kind of high level that we've just been kind of at for a minute, just know that if you're in any one of those 3 cities, you can go to your MLS and get the same data. Now, if you wanted to go old school, you could do search. And if you wanted to see closed listings as one example for just single family residents, it does have a calendar function. So you can bring this up and you can go back a year. Let's do June to June. It's going to give me it's going to give me a lot because I didn't filter this. But let's say I just wanted to do a particular zip code. You could do that, and it would decrease that number. But you could do that. That's the long way about it. But you can get to it that way. Now, even Austin and San Antonio are going to have month-end statistics, like I just showed you earlier, that will give you days on market and things like that. So that is above and beyond what I just showed you. If you are calling from San Antonio, this will come not in the MLS, but from this little tab here from the board's website under market research and statistics. So you would just click here. Oh, I'm sorry, go over here, go to markets. I'm sorry, let me go back. So this is where I would go, because you got different areas and different counties and the week in sales. So this shows you a ton of different stuff. So market reports, let's just go to April. It's usually not until halfway through the next month that the prior month is done, just FYI. And I've sent these out just to the San Antonio agents from time to time, but it's 6 pages worth of a bunch of great information. Change data, median price, all that. Okay, if you are calling from El Paso, let's see. Under member resources now. Maybe it was under MLS. I didn't think it was. I thought it was a little bit more obvious. I just saw it yesterday, so I know those market stats are here. You can let's see, market summary. Oh, sorry. It's under okay. So sorry. So you're in the MLS for El Paso. Go to this little 3 line here under menu. It's under statistics, market summary, my market, all that good stuff. And this is what comes up. So number of listings, listing prices, and you'll see where in this vernacular, they refer to month supply as absorption rate. So this is the number of months of inventory that it was way back in June of 2021, and it's just gone down, right? So all that to say, same information, just different places, okay? So those are the primary statistics that I would use as talking points for your clients. If you have any issues on how to interpret this, if you forget what we talked about today, please let me know. But I mean, you should know at least how many closings there were the prior month, how that's trending, how many months of inventory there are, and really price-wise, are prices increasing? Are they decreasing? And people will feel a lot better about real estate once normalcy hits our market. People like consistency, right? If the interest rate is going to go up to 8%, whatever, just tell me that it's going to do that and it's going to stay there. They don't like wild swings, right? And so that's why if you're running up against buyers that were gung-ho 2 months ago and all of a sudden have ghosted you, that's a lot of the reason why. They don't know what to believe or who to believe. All right. Now, that being said, there is no bad time to buy a home, but they're getting misinformation and wrong sound bites. Nothing tells the truth like data, and we have access to it as licensees. They do not. That is a big distinction, you guys. They do not. No reporter is going to be able to get access to what we have access to. Okay. So any questions or feedback on what we just went over? That's kind of it that I have for today. No? Okay, this takes time. It takes time to figure out where these statistics are and to get comfortable with them. So, you know, if you have questions, please reach out. I'm always available to answer them. You know, it's available. It's great to kind of impart to your clients because they don't know otherwise. So anyway, so next week is the CE class on foreclosures and REOs, or real estate owned, bank owned properties. So please sign up for that. The email went out, I think, twice this week. I'm going to send it out again. And I don't believe that there's a place to pay for it on that link, but they're going to provide that when we sign on. So, you know, don't let that deter you. If you don't want the credit, that's cool too. Show up anyway. I'm sure you'll learn something. So anyway, with that said, we will see you all next Thursday at 1, and thank you so much. We'll talk to you then.